Tyler, and there is no perfect movie. But there were a lot of awesome movies to watch in 2016 this year, and I'm going to give you my top 10 favorite in this video today. Now, before we get into that, I just want to say that I don't see every major movie that comes out. I do really want to see as many as I can, but unfortunately, I haven't gotten to see a lot of stuff like, say, Sing Street, or Hell or High Water, or Moonlight. I've heard a lot of buzz for that, and I'm sure they're warranted, but I haven't seen them, unfortunately, so I do apologize for that. Now, with that said, let's get started. At number 10, it's been a surprisingly good year for horror movies this year. Don't Breathe, Lights Out, Neon Demon, among others. But the one that scared me and thrilled me the most by far was The Conjuring 2. James Wan intensely builds his suspense through longer takes to draw out the moment and POV shots of unknown spiritual forces and creates a lot of inventive scares. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are given a surprisingly emotional arc over whether they should continue their obviously dangerous profession because it's in their Lord's will, even though there are some hints that one of them or both of them could die. And the use of practical effects, prosthetics, makeup, and real-life locations make each scene feel all the more intense. I don't really buy the true story aspect of the movie, but I didn't really go into this expecting a biopic. I just wanted to see a good horror movie. And lucky for me, I walked out of a great one. Don't you hate when people complain about the fact that there aren't enough original concept movies, and then they just don't go see them anyways? Well, at number 9, it's a real shame that The Nice Guys was one of those films. Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe are a hilarious and clever reversal of the usual cliched buddy cop duo. You identify with Russell Crowe because of how good of an investigator he is and how big-hearted of a person he is despite his brooding appearance, and you really feel bad that he's just stuck being an enforcer. And Gosling is hilarious in just how much he tries to be just as good at his job, but always fails due to how clumsy he is. Shane Black's direction really recaptures the 1970s through amazing set and costume design, and his writing not only avoids every bad cop cliche you can imagine, but it takes every chance it has to make fun of those stupid cliches. It's well shot, well acted, funny as hell, sleekly directed, and it deserved more attention than it got. At number 8, we have Captain America: Civil War. Now, is it basically the same movie as The Winter Soldier? Yeah, kind of, but at the same time, I think it has the exact same qualities that make it a very good comic book movie. The action choreography, as well as the use of location, makes it as real as possible. Each heroes are given really cool powers and an arc that has a beginning, middle, and end that, whether you like these characters or not, you can understand what they're going through. Tony Stark trying to redeem himself for his past recklessness, Vision doing everything that he can to protect Scarlet Witch, who is also going through her own arc of trying to overcome the guilt that she has over the destruction she's caused. Even Zemo, as a villain, is actually given a pretty identifiable motivation for wanting revenge. The older heroes are as good as they've ever been. The new heroes make a great debut, and I'd love to see what they do in the future, and I cannot wait to see what else Marvel has to offer. At number 7, like everyone else, I was a little skeptical about Disney remaking one of my childhood favorites. But after watching it, also like everyone else, I was surprised by how much it stayed true to the original while also improving itself, and that would be The Jungle Book. Original characters like Baloo and Bagheera are still as likable as ever. Idris Elba and Scarlett Johansson were creepy as hell as Shere Khan and Kaa, and the CG effects on the animals were so breathtakingly photorealistic, I think they're going to win the Oscar for Best Visual Effects this year. But what really surprised me the most was just how improved of a character Mowgli is. Instead of a whiny, useless tool who contributes absolutely nothing, he is a smart, resourceful boy who tries to gain his independence from the other jungle creatures by using tools like, say, vines or sticks to survive in the jungle. Once you see this movie, I honestly think the bare necessities of life will come to you. Number 6 is a comic book movie that I can't imagine being adapted any differently, and that is Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds nails the dark, almost psychotic personality and fourth wall humor of the character, and he's given a surprising amount of sympathy over just how scarred his body is and how other people receive it. There's a lot of laughs with it, but there's also some decent amount of heart to it. The smaller budget allows for Reynolds and director Tim Miller to have a lot of creative freedom, and Miller's past experience as a visual effects artist actually does show in how good the CG effects are, but he also knows when to be practical during the action scenes. A lot of real-life locations, a lot of prop blood, and of course, the makeup prosthetics on Deadpool's body. I genuinely believe that Ryan Reynolds was always underneath the mask. The non-linear structure made the traditional origin actually feel a lot more refreshing. The romance was just as dirty as the rest of the film, and the side characters worked off of Deadpool hilariously. Weasel, Blind Owl, Negasonic, Colossus, you name it. At number 5, if every coming-of-age film had the exact positive traits as this film, I would be 100% happy, and that would be Edge of 17. Kelly Freeman Craig, as a screenwriter, remembers the pressures that come with being a teenager and how that can lead you to make some very questionable choices. But even more impressive, she actually knows how younger people talk, and she makes every conversation or awkward moment in the film feel as if it were real life. Haley Steinfeld gives one of her best and one of her hardest performances to do, especially considering she is always likable throughout the entire movie, even when she does some unlikable things, and the supporting cast all do an equally good job at portraying what feel like real people. And the direction's use of long shots and close-ups on the character really make you feel as lonely and uncomfortable as Steinfeld is. Edge of 17 really is a slice-of-life movie. It is worth the watch. Not enough people saw it. Check it out. Now, in my original review for number 4, I did say that I felt bad for the fact that my mom was sitting next to me during the opening credits, let alone the entire film. But then I realized that she watches Game of Thrones and Walking Dead all the time, and I felt better about myself. And I continue to love nocturnal animals. As I thought about this film for weeks, I started peeling off more layers that I didn't even realize the first time. The fact that each of the 3 narratives subtly play off in an exact similar fashion without you even noticing, and how some characters are symbolic towards one another. This isn't a film for everybody. There are some unpleasant moments and unanswered questions, but considering the movie's themes are about moral consequences and a driven desire for closure, it makes sense. I love the acting, I love the themes, I love the symbolism, I love Tom Ford's direction. I had a great time with Nocturnal Animals. Number 3 is the only film in this entire year that made me come close to crying twice. Hacksaw Ridge. Andrew Garfield and Hugo Weaving are Oscar-worthy as a man who wants to serve his country without having to kill anyone in order to save some lives, and a man who doesn't want to be as traumatized and bitter towards the world as he is, or lose his life for what he thinks is a complete lost cause. Vince Vaughn and Luke Bracey prove that they are more than capable of giving riveting, dramatic performances, and Mel Gibson's direction of the battle sequences in this movie were so intense, so suspenseful, so brutal, and so amazing to watch that my neck and back hurt for hours after I watched the film. And the fact that Desmond Doss was a real soldier and that he never had to kill anyone in order to protect anyone, including himself, is an amazing real-life tale, and I wish there were more soldiers like that. And the cast and the crew of this movie made it a story that was more than worth telling. At number 2, this director has made one film per year, and every single time these films end up being one of my favorites of that particular year. Prisoners, Enemy, Sicario, and he does it again this year with Arrival. And with a track record like that, I am so looking forward to Blade Runner 2049. He has such masterful direction. His visuals tell the story first, dialogue tells them second. The effects are seemingly blended in with real-life sets and locations and some well-rendered CG effects. The aliens were slowly but intensely built up. The stakes felt genuine, real, and terrifying. And Amy Adams gives my favorite performance that I've seen from her so far, as a woman who knows the eventual outcome, but can't decide whether she wants to change that outcome and ease the pain of herself and everyone else who's experiencing it, or whether she should accept the inevitable and appreciate the positive elements to it. What else can I say but Denis Villeneuve, you are 4 for 4. Congratulations. And now, my favorite film of 2016 is La La Land. As I'm currently making this video, there is not one thing about this film that I didn't enjoy. The musical numbers were so well choreographed and filmed in flawless long takes. the fantastic performances from Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, Damien Chazelle's energetic direction that pays tribute to classic musicals without ever being cheesy, the fact that the visuals, the score, and the lyrics all tell the story equally, and that exact story about how two people can influence each other to follow their dreams, but the farther they go, the less time they'll have for one another. And that story is handled so well, and that is why La La Land is my favorite movie of 2016 by far. Guys, thanks as always for watching. What are your favorite films of 2016? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, check out my other reviews at NoPerfectMovie.com. Stay tuned tomorrow, I'm going to be having my worst of the year list up. And once again, thank you all very much for watching. Take care.